family. Yo, hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second, bro. AKUNI. It's like right up there. AKUNI. Strength, resilience, and courage. Transmuted from the source out to the real world. When I was in middle school, elementary, and the beginning of high school, I didn't understand what confidence was. I didn't understand how it felt to be courageous and acquire inner strength to do what I personally wanted to do deep inside. A lot of the times, I would just go on the computer and play online games so that I can be someone who I couldn't be in the real world. Because when you socialize online compared to in person, it's a completely different ballgame. You don't really have to embrace energy when you're online compared to when you're interacting with a real human face to face. The one thing that really helped me get out of this comfort zone was actually pushing myself to build my body, become stronger, and that gave me an understanding of what self-respect felt like, discipline, and having courage to do things that I wouldn't normally do with my life. When I trained hard, I had that confidence to do things that I wouldn't do. I would wear clothes that I probably wouldn't have worn because I was afraid of being made fun of. I would feel more comfortable in my own skin. But that wasn't enough though. That wasn't enough. Because, yeah, I was able to wear what I wanted. But I still didn't have it in myself to really speak my mind and embrace my own personal truths that I was pushing under a rug. Now, I feel like that was because I was too busy trying to edit myself and not really embrace what was already there in my core, you know? When you are so busy trying to edit yourself, you push yourself away from that liberation that you crave. Yeah. I mean, I craved it, and I didn't realize that when I kept editing myself, I was pushing myself back from the one goal, the one lifestyle. I don't know if lifestyle, I don't really know how to word it, but just being authentic and being real with myself and still showing it to the real world even when I felt afraid. Just because you're courageous doesn't mean that you're still afraid. Doesn't mean that you're not afraid. There's been moments where I was afraid to post a video or speak my mind to somebody. But when you have the courage, when you tap into the AKUNI and exercise that courage and inner strength, that self-respect to really get your word across, that's what sets the bar. That's what sets the difference between people who continue to edit themselves and restricting themselves, filtering themselves from that true freedom, and people who are courageous enough to bear the risks. Because when you're real, when you're authentic, you're gonna get backlash for it. And I feel like that's why I really struggled with taking that leap of faith, because I knew deep down that people weren't really gonna accept me. Certain people weren't going to appreciate the energy that I was bringing out to the world. And that's for their own personal reasons. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with you. When you realize that you can't control the reactions of some people, it really gives you that breathing room. It makes it feel like you're not drowning anymore. That way you can actually express yourself. That's what encouraged me to make AKUNI clothes, embrace the AKUNI mindset, because a lot of people wouldn't really wear my clothes. People who I personally thought of as my friends and stuff, people who I would speak to in school, I would encourage them to, wear my clothes, support this and that, and it would always seem like a lot of them were kind of repulsed by it. It might not be their style. They might not like the energy. They might not like me enough to wear it. And that's okay. At some point, you really can't control some outcomes, and that's okay. But I'm still eternally grateful that I took that leap of faith and still chose to create and embrace what was inside of me. Embrace it enough to bring it out to the real world, regardless of how the people close to me thought. Because this is real to me. And if you can't be real to yourself, how could you be real to others? How could you know when somebody else is real? Well, you probably can't. I don't know. Maybe if you know them long enough, but yeah. Yeah. That's also why I really like to record and try not to edit things. Try not to crop too many stuff out or do second takes, because there's a lot of gold. There's gold in the originality, in the first takes. Because if I were to stop the video now and start again, that would just be me filtering myself, because I didn't necessarily accept what I brought out in the original one. Does that make sense? I really don't think it's that deep. I don't think it's that deep anymore. Sometimes I think, oh, this isn't good enough for the channel. This isn't good enough for the viewer, but what if you just do it for yourself? You know? Try doing it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Do what resonates with you. And maybe other people will come along. Because we might have a lot in common. We're not as different and individual as we might think we are. We are very social creatures. I'm not saying we aren't unique, but you'd be surprised how many people have things in common with you. You just never know until you bring out your true self. Because we can't read each other's minds. We're not at that level of evolution. So people can only really relate to you in reflection to what you bring out to the world. You know? Not bad.